Hi everyone, I'm Alex and welcome to Tecton. If you're spending weeks building feature pipelines for your ML models, you're probably doing a lot of complicated feature engineering work that can be solved more efficiently. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a simpler way to define, compute, and serve features in production for a fraud detection use case. This approach works for the most demanding, business-critical applications from fraud to real-time recommendation systems. So what does your feature workflow look like today? Probably something like this. And if it doesn't yet, it will, as you get past simple batch pipelines to more complex use cases. You need to build and orchestrate the data pipelines, juggle the different processing needs for each data source, manage the compute infrastructure, generate training data that will still be accurate in production, and build reliable, low-latency serving infrastructure. And do it all again as you iterate on features and continue improving your model performance. Tecton does a lot of that work for you. And this is the part that really changes things for ML teams. Each of the feature pipelines that you see here are managed by Tecton. The Tecton platform automates the deployment, orchestration, and management of the data pipeline from the source to serving. This is done with Tecton's declarative framework. In a few lines of code, you define the transformations that create features, and Tecton automatically builds the pipelines needed to compute, manage, and serve the features. Doesn't matter if it's batch, streaming, or real-time data, it's one common framework for every data processing need. So let's see it in action. Say you want to build features for a real-time fraud detection model. You'll need a variety of batch, streaming, and real-time data to make a prediction, from a user's past behavior to extremely fresh, real-time information like the current transaction. First, you'd want to know a user's spending patterns over longer periods of time, such as the last year or last few weeks, and this is a job for batch processing. In your favorite notebook environment, you'll start with a source where you can access any batch dataset through native connectors like Redshift, Snowflake, BigQuery, and S3. This is where you'll define the transformations that turn data into features. When deployed, they automatically create the provisioning and orchestration needed for production pipelines that can run natively in Python, directly in your data warehouse or on your Spark cluster. As you can see, this was just a few lines of code. And guess what? Adding streaming event data is just as easy. Building stream aggregation for a broad range of time windows and dealing with late arriving data is not easy. But here, you can do it in a single code definition. For fraud, you'll want to look at a user's most recent spending over hours or minutes. This requires streaming feature pipelines. Our streaming pipeline can read data from Kafka and Kinesis streams, or from a Tecton push endpoint for direct processing. Streaming pipelines use both the current stream and the sink with its history to automatically create backfill jobs that process the historical stream data the same way it will process new events from the stream. Really handy for keeping everything in both your online store and offline store up to date as new data arrives. A Tecton streaming pipeline defines on-the-fly transformations of incoming event data. And to calculate more advanced features, Tecton's optimized aggregation engine can deliver up to the second aggregate features. Finally, in addition to batch and streaming features, your model needs real-time information that only exists at the moment of the transaction, like the transaction amount, the merchant, and location. Tecton can process those request time inputs. You can also define the transformations of those inputs into features that make use of previously calculated features from batch or streaming pipelines. For instance, you might need to combine the real-time transaction info with pre-computed features to understand things like, is this amount an outlier based on the user's spending statistics? Now it's time to create training datasets with our features. Generating training datasets can be a slow, painful process, but that's not all. To eliminate training serving skew, you need training data that's point-in-time consistent. Otherwise, you've got data leakage, or training models with information that will not be available at inference time. To solve this, Tecton generates large-scale training datasets with feature values that are accurate as of the training events, with no leakage. Now, we're ready to deploy into production feature pipelines with a single command. Upon deployment, Tecton will automatically apply changes and run backfill jobs. For the batch pipelines, it sets up robust scheduling, provisioning, fault-tolerant execution, and monitoring. For streaming in real time, It provisions scalable compute that ingests and processes the data and sets up monitoring. In all cases, the data modeling, load and query, and the online and offline stores are configured and maintained for you. Now, I mentioned that predictive ML cases often require extremely low latency. In the case of fraud, it's as quick as the swipe of a credit card. Tecton also takes care of that part with real-time serving infrastructure designed for the most demanding apps. Feature vectors created from any combination of the data pipelines that Tecton manages are served directly with extremely low latency via our HTTP API, or one of our client libraries. Tecton's automated online store management optimizes for low latency retrieval and can serve any model for the data freshness and throughput that you need. And voila! We've got all the features we need for a reliable, performant, real-time fraud detection model. By the way, you can easily reuse these features for other use cases and avoid duplicating any of these pipelines. So what you've seen is how Tecton automated away months of data engineering work into days of declarative code. That means you can iterate on features rapidly, ensure production reliability, and focus on building better models, which is the whole point. So if you want to try this out for yourself, check out our interactive demo and walk through this same fraud detection example. And make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss how you can build our other use cases with Tecton. See you in the next one.